Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another deck profile, and today I'm bringing you my Shaddol list. I jumped on the hype train for Shaddols when the structure deck came out. So this is basically what I put together with the 3 structure decks and some cards that I had lying around. So let's get right into it. Starting us off, we have 3 copies of Shaddol Window. Her effects are the same for her flip effect and her when sent to grave by card effect. It summons a Shaddol monster from the deck in either face up or her when sent to graveyard one is summon one in face down defense, but her flip effect one lets you summon either face up or face down defense from the deck, which is really nice because summoning from the deck is really good. Next up, we have 3 copies of Shaddol Ariel. She has the flip effect of when she's flipped face up, you can target one of your banished Shaddol monsters and special summon it. Then, whenever she is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target 3 cards in either player's graveyard and banish them. But due to the effects being hard once per turn, you can only use one or the other. So, same thing goes for Wendy, but you're not really going to use Wendy's flip effect that often. Next up, we have 2 copies of Shaddol Beast. It has the flip effect that whenever it's flipped face up, its flip effect is draw 2 cards, discard 1 card. Simple as that. I don't know why I'm being so complicated, but you know what? You draw 2 cards, you discard 1 card, or whenever he's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can draw just 1 card. Again, hard once per turn, so yeah. And then next up we have 2 copies of Shaddol Hedgehog. I don't know why I want to say El Shaddol Hedgehog, because I know it's not El Shaddol Hedgehog. But yeah, Shaddol Hedgehog has the flip effect that its flip effect is to it adds a Shaddol spell or trap from your deck to your hand. I am sorry, I'm tired. I woke up not too long ago. And by not too long ago, I mean like almost an hour ago. So if I'm all over the fucking place, my bad. Yeah. And then it has the effect that whenever it's into the graveyard by a card effect, you can add a Shaddol monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a roto for the deck, which actually isn't bad. Next up, 2 copies of Squamata. Squamata has the flip effect to target a monster on the field and destroy it. Then it has the effect that whenever it goes to the graveyard by card effect, you can Foolish Burial another Shaddol monster. Or is it Shaddol card? I believe it's Shaddol card. Yes. Yes, it is. Next up, we have 1 Shaddol Falco. Has the effect that whenever its flip effect is you can target a Shaddol monster in your graveyard and special summon it in face up or face down defense position, or just in face down defense position. Just in face down defense position. And then Falco has the effect himself that whenever he is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon him from your graveyard in face up or face down defense position. Next up, we have 1 copy of Shaddol Dragon. It's MST, essentially. Whenever it's flipped, it destroys a spell or trap, and then graveyard by card effect. Oh wait, no. No, it's a compulse for the flip effect, and then it's MST on the sent to grave by card effect. And then for engine cards or just, generic splash cards in the deck, we run 3 Mathematician. It Foolish Burials like a monster from the deck, and then whenever he's destroyed, you draw a card. So, Mathematician's just really good. And then I only run 2 Perform Age Trick Clown. Mainly because when I was running it at 3 and doing test hands with this deck, I kept seeing 2 of it in my hand every time, and I also kept seeing a way to send it to the graveyard from the deck in my hand, which is not very good. So I bumped it down to 2 so that would happen a little less often. But sometimes you don't mind having this guy in your hand, but if you don't know what he does, if it is sent to the graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon it, but it becomes a 0/0. And that is a hard once per turn. God damn it. Could you believe that's one of the cards that got Brilliant Fusion banned? Wow, who would have guessed? And then next up, for another engine I'm running in the deck, I'm running the Predaplant engine. So 3 Orifice Scorpio. I just had 3 of these lying around, and it searches any fusion this card, you discard a card, and then special summon a Predaplant from your deck. And then, there's the one Darlingtonia for the finish up of, or for the last card in the Predaplant engine. I just fucking cannot speak today, can I? I'm sorry about cursing. I need to stop, but it's whatever. And then this one has the effect that whenever it's special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant monster, you can search and add a fusion spell or a polymerization spell from your deck to your hand. And that's a once per duel effect, not a once per turn. I did grab everything. Yes, I did. Woo! Now, into the spells, we are going to have 3 Shaddol Fusion, or not Shaddol, 3 Shaddol Fusion. I actually am not fully acquainted with this card. Holy fuck. You can fusion summon a Shaddol monster from your extra deck, and you can use monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can also use monsters from your deck as fusion materials. So basically, this is, if you go second, this card is 2 Foolish Burials in 1 if your opponent has a extra deck monster on board. And then it's also, your fusion spell. Yay. Searchable by the Predaplant engine. Yay. Next up, we have 2 copies of Shaddol Fusion. The thing about the Shaddol Fusion cards is that they're all hard once per turns, which is ridiculous. Not really ridiculous in my opinion, but it's more of just like, if you open with more than 1 copy of each of them, it can be a bit cloggy, which is not fun. But this is just a quick play fusion spell. Fusion summon your extra deck using from hand or field. Yep. It's just quick play poly in the deck. And they brought it up to 3, but again, it's one of those situations like with Trick Clown, where running it at 3, I would open with more than 1 copy of it, and again, with it being a hard once per turn, just not really worth having it at 3. I mean, you can say the same thing about regular Shaddol Fusion, but all of the fusion monsters, or all of the fusion spells you can have, you should probably play. But again, I only run that at 2 because running it at 3, I see it way too often in my hand. And it's also searchable by Predaplant engine. Next up, we have one Shaddol fusion. I don't really see a lot of people play this card, but when you activate it, you can summon back a Shaddol monster from your graveyard. Then you can declare an attribute, or you declare an attribute, summon one back, and then that Shaddol monster becomes that attribute. And then you can use, and then this card lets you fusion summon with it on the board. And you use that monster and another monster in your hand. So basically, you can make any attributed extra deck Shaddol monster with this, which is why I run it at 1 just because it's a very niche card sometimes because of a certain other spell that we run, but I'll get into those right about now. For the generic spells that we run, I'm running 3 Allure of Darkness because draw power is key, and running all the darks, you can get away with this card. It's just a draw 2 Allure of Darkness lets you draw 2 cards by banishing one dark monster after you draw, which is nice. So yeah, that's Allure of Darkness. And then we also run 3 copies of Super Poly. This is why I'm running Neff Shaddol Fusion at 1 copy per deck. Or 1 copy, not per deck, but just 1 copy in the deck. And that's mainly because Super Poly exists, and it's at 3. And there's a Shaddol Fusion monster for almost every single attribute in the game. Just bumped my arm that is holding my camera. But if you don't know what Super Poly does, discard a card, or when you activate this, your opponent can't activate anything in response. You have to discard a card, and then you can fusion summon any fusion monster from your extra deck. And yeah, with it being quick play, you can activate it on your opponent's turn, and they can't do shit about it. And then for the last generic spell, we run the 1 Foolish Burial because, sending a monster from your deck to the graveyard by card effect triggers every single effect in this, or triggers a lot of effects in this deck. So that's it for the spells. Onwards to the traps. So I run 3 Resh Shaddol Incarnation. This card is more discard fodder or whatever for maybe your Proto Plant card, your Super Poly, name it. This card is something you want in the graveyard. And I didn't have any Foolish Burial of Goods in the in my collection because they're all in other decks that I'm currently still working on. So yeah, and this card has 2 effects. You can one of them is it has 3 effects. You can target a Shaddol monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face up or face down defense position, and then you can banish this card and 1 Shaddol from your graveyard, and then activate one of the following 2 effects. Change 1 face down monster you control to face up defense position, or change 1 face up to face down defense position. You can only use 1 of its effects per turn. So mainly you're going to be using its grave effect to banish it and another Shaddol to flip something face up. So the combo is you get Wendy in the graveyard by card effect, summon Ariel in face down, and then you're going to banish this and maybe like a construct or something and flip Ariel to summon back the construct. And then I also run the 1 Shaddol core because it does the same thing that Neff Shaddol Fusion does. It can change its attribute. It's a trap monster, but whenever it's activated, you can declare 1 attribute. This card becomes that attribute. You summon it. And yeah, it's an okay card. but with it being a trap card, it's a bit slow. That's it for the main deck. Now we're gonna go into the extra deck. I'm running 3 copies of El Shaddol Construct because El Shaddol Construct is a 3. Her summoning requirements are a Shaddol monster and a light monster. On summon, or whenever she's special summoned, you can Foolish Burial a card from your deck, any card. And then she has the effect that whenever she battles a special summon monster before damage calc, you can just pop it. So, yeah. Fun. Next up, I run 2 copies of the Structure Deck exclusive App Cologne Fusion Monster. I mean, yeah, Wendy and Ariel are Structure Deck exclusive, but this card, I actually think it's really good. You have to use 2 Shaddol monsters with different attributes, and whenever it's summoned, you can target a monster on the field, negate its effects. Really good, in my opinion. Negating a monster effect, but not destroying it, means no float, or no floating effect until you beat over it by battle. And then whenever this... Oh, wait. And Shaddol Construct has the effect that whenever it goes to the graveyard, you can add a Shaddol spell or trap from your graveyard back to your hand. App Cologne is different because whenever it goes to the graveyard, you can add a Shaddol card from your deck or graveyard to your hand, if I'm correct. Yes. Any Shaddol card. And I think... Construct only works on the spells and traps, and then App Cologne works on everything. So next up, we have 2 copies of El Shaddol Winda, a Floodgate monster. Woo. She has the effect that both players can only special summon once while she's on the board, and then she has the same floating effect, but she also cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is really nice, but only 2,200? Yeah, 2,200 attack and 800 defense. Not the strongest card in the world, but it stops your opponent from making any big plays if you go first. Next up, I run 2 copies of El Shaddol Shekinaga. I actually don't know what this card does. I've never read it, because I never summon it. Oh, and Winda is a Shaddol monster plus a dark monster for her summoning requirements. El Shaddol Shekinaga is a Shaddol monster and an earth monster. And his effect, when a special summon monster activates its effects while you have a Shaddol card in your quick effect, negate and destroy, then send a Shaddol card from your hand to the graveyard. And then that's hard once per turn. And then it has the graveyard effect that it recurs a spell or trap. So he's monster effect negation by sending a Shaddol from your hand to the graveyard, which then triggers another effect. He's also level 10, so if you rank 10 trained players want to splash some Shaddol stuff in, go ahead. Next up, we have 1 copy of El Shaddol Grista. It's a smaller Shekinaga, but it can negate the summon of a monster or monsters by doing the exact same thing that Shekinaga does, sending a Shaddol from your hand to the graveyard, which is really good. Super poly this against Salamangreat when they summon like a Heat Leo or something, or not Heat Leo, Sunlight Wolf. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. Sunlight Wolf. So they summon their second Sunlight Wolf, and on summon you flip up your Super Poly, and then you make Grista, and they would go to special summon a monster, and then you would just send one from hand to graveyard, and boom, you negate the summon. Boom. Good card against Salamangreats. I'm going to save that fusion for last. Actually, next up we have one El Shaddol Wendigo. Her effect is must first be fusion summoned. She has a Quake effect where you can target a monster you control this turn and cannot be destroyed by battle with an opponent's special summon monster. And then you can only use, that's a hard one per turn. And then she has the recycle effect. So basically, if you have a bad hand going first, you pass to your opponent with this on the board. There's no way they have something they can normal summon that's bigger than this. So they just, in their draw phase, activate this thing's effect. Target itself, it can't die that turn by battle, but card effect is a different thing. Yeah, you get the picture. Then we have El Shaddol Annoyedolus. Sorry, I had to read its effect. Its effect says that neither player can special summon monsters from the hand using spell/trap effects, which is great. And then it has the floating effect. On death, it adds a spell or Shaddol spell or trap from deck to hand. So yeah. And since the current meta is rocked with dark monsters, here's another super poly target for you. Predaplant. God, what is it? Trifioveratum? I don't know. But its summoning requirements is 3 dark monsters on the board, and it has a summon negation, and then it can bring itself back out of the graveyard once per turn. So that's pretty cool. It's also 3k, so you can summon it in defense mode, or summon it in attack mode if your opponent can't crash into it or beat over it. So yeah. And then for the links, even though, yes, you don't need links anymore, having 2 Predaplant monsters on your board is a bit of a cloggy situation, if I do say so myself. So, in order to get them off your board, I run 1 Underclock Taker and 1 Decode Talker. Decode Talker is just there for, if you fusion summon and you need to recur a card back to your hand for next turn because your hand wasn't looking that good. You make Decode Talker, put something in one of his arrows, becomes a 2800 attack point monster, and you can easily get him to 3000. And then he also has a negation effect that sends from your field to the graveyard, so having one of the smaller baby Shaddol monsters in your zone he points to is actually really good because he can activate their effects. So anyways, guys, that is the Shaddol deck profile, or my Shaddol deck profile. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to hit that like button down below. If you are new here, please be sure to subscribe. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. We are nearly there. I want to get there by the end of the year, not anytime soon. So if you're brand new here, bear with me. If you want to watch a couple of my other videos, go ahead, go to my channel. I have a bunch of deck profiles from the last few weeks that I have put up that I think you would enjoy. So again, like and subscribe. Comment down below any suggestions for cards to put into the deck, or just, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I've been liking I've been replying to everybody. I've been liking everybody's comments because I enjoy the, hey, try and add this to the deck because it actually helps with consistency, or stuff that's like, hey, I'm just getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I saw this deck profile for this deck that I really like, so I'm gonna try it out. I love going down in the comment section, reading your guys' comments. So again, like, subscribe, comment anything you want. Well, except inappropriate stuff, but that's aside the fucking point. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.